So Bernstein, I finally get in there, right? Like I'm getting laid, and I have nothing to compare it to. I mean, it was, your standard college fucking. Um, you know, I always used a condom. She gave decent blowjobs. She was, frolicsome and enjoyed me. I enjoyed her. And so we're fucking for like a month, maybe a couple weeks, and she kind of starts telling me she's got like a thing that she likes to do, and this is my first time in this town. I have waited 21 years to get inside Pussyville, and I'm ready to see the sights, do whatever, right? So I'm like, okay, what is this thing you like to do? And she's like, well, it's a little kinky. I'm like, well, telling me. I mean, the way I grew up. Jesus, there's my wife. God damn it, Nelly. So, fuck, such a pain in the ass. So we're there. Can you close the door and turn the TV down, darling? Sidikit. Terima kasih. Um, so we're in there and we're banging, we're hooking up. She comes over a couple times a week. She lives like a half mile away. And she's like, I have this little naughty thing I like to do. And I'm like, well, that's fine. Whatever. Fucking just tell me, It's like the fucking secret of Nim. I mean, how bad can it be? So she's like, I like applesauce. And so you got to understand that the way I grew up in a house full of, uh, you know, completely inappropriate, sexually inappropriate adults, swinging the 70s and the 80s and fucking key parties and partner swapping. This is all the things that the grown-ups around us did. I mean, I was completely, numb to all this. Saw tons of porn when I was a kid, dirty magazines, wherever. I mean, I'm like, okay, this is your definition of kinky. Whatever. Hey, wow, that's wacky. But applesauce, I'd never heard of that before. Like, I'd never even contemplated that having any role whatsoever in the whole sexual thing. So she's like, yeah, I'm really into applesauce. I'm like, okay. So I'm 21 years old. I'm finally getting laid. And up to that point, I'd literally kissed like three girls for maybe a total of like 2 hours, in like a few different pathetic high school makeout sessions. Never had a girlfriend. Never even really been on like a date. I just was poor and ugly and had a lot of challenges and was aware of them and didn't try. Um, but luckily Bernstein broke the spell. So we're sleeping together, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I have this thing." I'm like, "What is this thing?" She's like, "I'm into applesauce." I'm like, "Okay," So, and along the spectrum of things, I'm like, "Okay, she's got a thing she's into with sex, and it's applesauce. Like that's not as bad as like, hey, I want you to watch me get railed by a couple other guys, or you want to put a toy train in my rectum, or I want to bang you with a strap on. Like it's applesauce. That's pretty benign, in the spectrum of things. I mean, it could be worse. So I'm like, okay, so applesauce. What do you want? She's like, let's go to the store. So I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to the store. Now Bernstein, she was like 3 years older than me. He came from a very wealthy family. Her dad, I think, was a doctor or something. Just a cute girl. Um, she kind of takes the lead, goes to the store, and we get in the applesauce aisle, and she starts freaking out, like rubbing up against me, getting excited. I mean, this is like the bad porno where some guy gives a girl like Spanish fly or some aphrodisiac and she goes crazy. She's like losing it. And so I'm here, and I'm like 21, been laid maybe like 10 times, all with this girl. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're getting applesauce. So I remember we got a jumbo family size treetop applesauce, with cinnamon flavoring. And we bought it, and she was just thrilled. So we go back to her apartment, get naked, and smear it all over ourselves and fuck. And I'm like, okay. She's just like excited, so turned on. It's the most amazing thing. And I'm sitting here thinking, you know, I know that I'm an outlier, right? I mean, I'm 21. I have zero experience with girls other than this one right here. I know that I have a lot to learn with sex. I went to great lengths uh, to kind of come to terms with not being successful with girls at that point in life. And it's like I finally get here, and the one I'm with, I'm like, she's into applesauce. And it was gross. I mean, it was like all over us. It's smeared everywhere. You know, sex by itself is a fairly messy endeavor to begin with, and you throw in like a sort of sticky snack item, and it just doesn't improve the situation. But it turned her the fuck on. So, you know, we dated for like another month and went through a lot of applesauce, and I'd be banging her and whatever. But I remember thinking, God, if this is the first girl I'm with and she's into applesauce, what's behind curtain number two? What is behind curtain number two? And that is another story for another day. But yeah, applesauce. So every time I see applesauce in the aisle, I think of Bernstein and just losing her mind. Like I'd bought her a fucking 10-carat diamond in a private island in the Caribbean, just going crazy. And I remember sitting there thinking, what is this what people do? Is this what like sex is about? Getting to know someone and naked, and then you smear some food all over them, and I just it was a bizarre start. A bizarre start.